Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this mini-series on move stats. If you haven't already, please do watch part 1 first, as it covers the basic fundamentals on stats and will give you an overview on which stats are good to keep and which stats are bad. So in this part 2, I want to talk about how to build an offensive fighter. In a way, this takes what you've hopefully learned in part 1 and put things in a bigger picture. First of all, when you build a fighter for offense, you will need 5 moves. It's already difficult and rare to find one move with perfect stats, and now you have to find 5 moves. And then there's the additional fact that you don't want just random moves, right? You want these stats to be in special moves or blockbusters that are useful for your playstyle. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that there is a lot of RNG factor here, and on this video's release, there's currently no way for players to plan their moves whatsoever. It's all according to luck. Everything is RNG, and you pretty much have to be patient, as it can take weeks to months before you get the move loadout with the stats that you want. Trust me, I've been playing this game for 2 years now and I still don't have the Cerebella moves that I want. Okay, so let's say that you have 5 moves with pretty decent stats. All of them are at least a 2-3 or a 3-3. So here comes the other RNG factor, rolling. And when I say rolling, I meant upgrading your moves to the next level and see which stat gets buffed. This is again RNG, and there's no way to re-roll your stats. So there's 3 outcomes that could happen. 1 stat wonder is where most of the rolls go to 1 stat. 2 stat gamble is where the rolls are split between 2 stats. And 3 stat balance is where every stat is split sorta evenly. So the best 1 stat wonder is when it rolls to attack percentage, and that's because attack percentage has no cap at all. So I have 2 examples here, Sound Scope and Napalm Shot. I am very happy with Sound Scope because it went all into attack, which is really nice. But Napalm Shot went too much into crit rate, which kinda sucks. Especially when my crit rate is already pretty high from the other moves. 2 stat gamble is what you should aim for when you upgrade a 2-3 move. You just pray and hope that the rolls are split between the 2 stats that you want. My best example here is Megalith Array, where I got lucky that most of my rolls went to attack percentage and crit rate, and only a few went to tag cooldown. Lastly is a 3 stat balance, which I think is the most common outcome. I might be wrong. Here I have my Egret Call, which has a great stat distribution in all 3 stats that my Parasol really needed: attack percentage, piercing, and crit rate. So I suppose the next question would be, how far should I level my stats? So stats go from level 1 till 15, and there's some bonus effects that is unlocked when you level them up. Egret Call, for example, starts off with 1 stack of precision, and at level 15, it gives 3 stacks of precision instead. My best advice is to level moves up in multiples of 3. So 3, 9, 12, 15. If you have to use a move with horrible stats, then level them up to 3 and just keep it there. You don't want to go more. Level 3 moves have their effects unlocked, so you can inflict whatever debuff or gain whatever buff you need without spending a lot of coins. For level 9, I will only upgrade moves to this level if they are a 2-3 move with good rolls or a 3-3 move. Usually at level 9 you can kinda see the pattern on where most of the rolls will fall to, whether it's a 1 stat wonder, 2 stat gamble, or a 3 stat balance. So at this point, I suggest you to stop and level your other 4 moves before continuing to level 12. So level 9 should be your checkpoint. Now you need to double check the stats of your fighter with those moves equipped and see which stats you need, which stats you have too much of, and which move you might have to replace. It's useful to remember that some stat has a cap limit, and you could see the full list in this image here. The most important thing to check out is your attack percentage and piercing. For attack percentage, you gotta see how much you have and how likely you are to get more. I personally aim to get at least 100% attack, so at this point, I'm looking for around 60% or possibly more. For piercing, you have to see whether you are near the cap or not. Piercing caps at 50%, and if at level 9 moves your piercing is already maxed out or near max, that's a bit of a red flag. Because it is likely that when you upgrade these moves to level 12 or even level 15, you're gonna go beyond 50%, and that is a big waste. You want exactly 50%, not more. The next step is to level up your moves to level 12, and I suggest to start with moves that are high priority. It's the move that you will definitely use and has amazing stat. Level those up first before doing the others and see how the other falls into place. It is likely you may have to upgrade a 6th move to 9 to replace one of your original 5 because the stats don't add up well. This is pretty normal and what makes investing in moves super expensive. So here's a case study on my Fukua moveset. Okay guys, I'm gonna try to build my Phantom Threads Fukua. And I really don't know which moves to choose yet. I have several that I found had like a pretty good offensive output. Like for this, for example, attack, piercing, and crit damage. So I just leveled that up to 9. And now it's at level 12. So I think Inevitable Snuggle is one of Fukua's main strengths. It has really good moves. I think it's one of her best blockbusters. So I'm going to equip this for now. And another move that I definitely want to equip is Loves of Love. So I think I have an offensive one right here. Attack, defense, meter gain. Okay. So it has attack and meter gain, which is quite nice. But defense, it's alright, I guess. Another move that I really want is Drill of My Dreams. I need to equip this, and unfortunately, I do not have any better, and as you can see, like, the other ones that I have are completely defensive, so I'm left with this, another move with attack, piercing, and defense. So just right now, my defense is huge. I have like 30% attack and 27% piercing, which is still fine. So another move that I'm considering from my list here is Breakdown. I got Breakdown a few days ago and it has like really good stats. It went mostly into attack and piercing, which is really nice. And it's a taunt that gives me miasma. Any Fukua can use this. But I feel like if I use this, my piercing is at 42%. And if I level all these moves, the 4 moves I have here, to 15, that is gonna go over the top. Like, it's gonna be more than 42%. So I'm thinking Twice Shy could be nice. So with a Blockbuster 3, I'm roughly at 60% attack, 42% piercing, 39% defense. Okay, so this is acceptable. This is a moveset that I could use for now. I wouldn't use it at the end when I level my moves up to 15 because I'm gonna go over the piercing. But for now, I could use this. But let's see if we can change and optimize this a bit better. Now first, Inevitable Snuggle. So it has 15% piercing, 18% attack, and 12% crit damage. I'm wondering if I can remove some of that piercing into another stat or not. So do I have another Inevitable Snuggle here? So this one is defensive, so nope. This one has attack, crit damage, and meter gain. So instead of piercing, it has meter gain. So that could be useful. So if I equip this, I lose a bit of piercing, which allows my other moves that has piercing, if I level them up, it will fill that up to 50%. I'm going to level this at 12 actually, and to see how they compare. Okay, it went to attack, which is really good. Crit damage is, it's alright. Oh man. So where's my previous one? So unfortunately it went a lot into crit damage instead of meter gain, but it does lose us some of that piercing, which is nice because I do need to lose that piercing in case I level these moves. So I could use... Now, do I need Breakdown? For Phantom Threads, I probably don't need Miasma because she's quite offensive. So for this, I could like remove this and equip an Outtake, for example. So this has attack, special cooldown, and piercing. And this has attack, piercing, and crit damage. But that piercing is at 18%. That could actually work, actually. 30% piercing. %30 piercing. If I equip this, it becomes 21%. Twice Shy. Okay, so I've got 2 other Twice Shy. This one has attack, piercing, and accuracy. A ton of piercing. I could equip this now since I changed a bit of my moveset. I changed my Inevitable Snuggle, so I could slot this in instead. But do I like it better than my meter gain though? And accuracy is a nice stat, but for Phantom Threads, it doesn't really do much. I can't actually think of any Fukua that does accuracy actually. So I don't really like this move. This one is a bit more okay. Special cooldown, I could use it with Loves of Love and reuse it again and again, which is really nice since Loves of Love is unblockable, so this is definitely better. But is it better than meter gain? And this one has a bit of defense as well, which I don't really need, but this one has HP, so it's kind of the same. I might level this up to 12 and see. 45% special cooldown, okay. Since my Loves of Love is still at level 9, I think this could be useful to have its cooldown be a bit faster. So I don't think I have any other choice. These are all defensive. Attack precision, block proficiency, I really don't like this being used, and it has HP as well. See, my love darts actually have really good stats, attack meter gain and crit rate. That could be useful to slot in here. So that, and my swarm embrace as well, attack crit rate, special cooldown, that's pretty useful. But it's not, the move itself is not great. I rather have Loves of Love, and even Lash Out and Outtake is still more useful than these two. Other variants may be able to use this though, so I'm keeping it for now. But I think for my Fukua moveset, for this gives me, so I'm at 21%, this gives me 29% to boost its piercing. So let's see if I upgrade Lash Out, how much piercing I can get. Oh no. Okay, so I'm at max special cooldown now, which is a bit worrisome. So I might change this Twice Shy now and change to, yeah, this is actually might be better. I really don't want to upgrade Loves of Love because I'm afraid of the defense. I don't really want any more defense. I want more offense. I want more stat to go into attack, and this Drill of My Dreams as well. It didn't go too much into attack, but let's try level it up to 12 and see. Okay, piercing again. Oh wow. Okay. So that went a lot into piercing. What if I change? So with this, I'm at 48%. It's unlikely that I'll take this to 15. It's unlikely I'll take any of these moves to 15 actually. I might take Lash Out to 15 since as an outtake it's quite useful, and the stats are 3 stats that I could really use. But these 3, I have problems with the HP here. This one I have problems with the crit damage. This one I have problems with the defense. So yeah, I would say these 4 moves are, some people may argue that they might be a 3-3, but for me it's a bit of 2-3 because I don't really need defense. Loves of Love as well. I might take this to 12 and see how it goes. Okay, meter gain. I could use meter gain. So unfortunately, I didn't get as much attack as I wanted to, but I did get some really good stats in piercing, meter gain, special cooldown. This allows me to make use of my blockbusters and special moves really faster now. The crit damage, unfortunately, is a bit of a wasted stat here since I didn't get any crit rate. And I don't have any crit rate. So, it's fine. It's only 12%, so it's fine. Defense is okay, it's useful, but Phantom Threads has a way to get blessing, so I might not need it. But yeah, I think I'll keep with this set for now. And as always, if you have, for me, if my moves are mostly like this, if your moves are like this, like I would just keep this at 12 and it'll work fine. I only level up moves to level 15 if they're absolutely perfect and they all complement each other. Clearly, in here there are some stats that I'm really not quite happy with, but you know, it's RNG, you can't really do much with this, so this is what I'm gonna work with, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna work out just fine. If you didn't notice, I used to have 2 million and now I'm at 400. That's how expensive investing in moves are, because you kind of have to like level up a few different moves and see which one is better. and sometimes you might have to sell one of those moves when they don't turn out or roll into the ones that you really wanted. So actually, I'm not gonna sell this move. This looks pretty decent. I just need a better Drill of My Dreams, because I really wish that went mostly into attack. Like, yeah. Okay, I think that's all for now. So you can see how frustrating it is to level up moves even if they have 3/3 stats. Here's a tip. Silver moves are actually useful and are very amazing to fill up some gaps and holes from your other loadout. The best example I have is my Canopy Bounce for my Parasol set here. This is the set that I've been using for a long time, and as you can see, I have a pretty great attack percentage, some piercing, and maximum crit rate. My Canopy Bounce here has attack percentage, crit rate, but some resistance, which is not useful at all. It was at 2-3 moves and I kept it and upgraded to level 12. And because of my other move, I actually have a really high crit rate already. So if I remove my Canopy Bounce, my crit rate is actually still at 98%. I don't actually need more. So really, this Canopy Bounce turns from a 2-3 to a 1-3. And the only useful stat here is only 15% attack. And that's at level 12. Luckily, I pulled the Silver Canopy Bounce with attack percentage and piercing just last week. I leveled it up to 15 and was able to get more piercing and about the same attack percentage, which is overall better than my last loadout, even though the attack percentage difference is only 1%. So do keep in mind about silver moves. They may not give as much stats, but they are cheaper to upgrade, like way cheaper, and they only have 2 stats, which is sometimes better than 3. So the last part of this video, I wanted to talk about general versus specific sets. General sets are a set of moves with stats that you can easily reuse with other variants of the same fighter. So as an example, I told you about my Parasol set. I could literally use these exact same moves that I have in my Somersault and move them onto my Primed, or my Star-Crossed, or my Shadow Ops, or my Sheltered, or my No Egrets, and would still work perfectly. The other example I have is my double set with a ton of crit rate to make use of the Chaos Marquee ability. I could, again, use this across all my other doubles with the Chaos Marquee ability. General sets like this should be prioritized since investing in moves is super expensive. It's better to invest a huge sum of coins into moves that you can reuse with 11 other variants, rather than investing all of that coins into a move that could only be used with 1 or 2 variants. And that is exactly what a specific set is. A specific set is a moveset with particular stats that only 1 or a few variants can really use. It's really rare to be able to make a specific set due to the RNG factor I've discussed before, but a specific set can truly bring a variant into its best form possible. My best example is this Misfortune set. So my Misfortune set consists of these 3 special moves which combos together and these 2 moves, and all the stats they have combines into more than 100% attack, 48% piercing, 100% crit damage, and a bit of defense and crit rate. So now why do I say that this is specific? Because as I mentioned, it doesn't make sense for us to invest in only crit damage or only crit rate unless there's some other payoff. It doesn't make sense to just invest in crit damage when your crit rate is only 35%. But here's the thing, Hack and Slash can easily gain precision through a well-timed block, and precision guarantees critical hits. So I don't even need to invest in any crit rate and I could still deal tons of damage through my crit damage alone. And that's why I call this a specific set, because I can really only use this set of moves with these stats in Misfortune variants that can gain precision easily. And although you can mention like, oh, why don't you just equip Nyan, the taunt that gives precision? Well, that's because I don't have a good taunt with these same stats, so if I change any of these, my stats will change as well. But here's the cool thing, I could literally use this exact same set into another variant that can gain precision quite easily, and it's quite underrated as well. So you've all heard of Miss Trial, a silver Misfortune variant, but it doesn't really see as much spotlight, right? It's quite underrated. But with this set, she can actually deal some insane amount of damage from her ability that gains precision when she hits a dashing opponent. So not only are you removing your opponent's buffs, but you're also gaining precision and dealing tons of damage through this set. Also, her precision hits have a 100% chance to ignore the opponent's defense and armor. So we're talking about a lot of damage here, even for silver variants, because I was able to specifically have this set that really complements her signature abilities. And this is what I mean when a specific set being able to lift some underrated variants to its best form possible. And unfortunately, it's such a shame that I can't do this with other variants because it's so totally RNG. And this is just one of those things where I got really lucky with. And I'm actually using this set in Miss Trial right now. I'm training her, and so far the results have been quite promising. It's quite nice. I really do like it. Alright everyone, that really is all I have to say for this part 2 on how to build an offensive fighter. And I know this is a lot of RNG that can be frustrating, but I really hope that one day we have an update where we can actually plan to build our moves as part of the strategy for this game. And if that happens, well, I think a lot of this information within this video can still be applicable. I really hope this video has been helpful for you all. I will take a break from this mini-series for a bit to make other content because the next part to talk about will be defensive fighters, and I think that can be put on the side for now. Building defensive fighters should not be a priority for you unless you're well into late game for rift battles and trying to improve your base. As always, thank you all for watching and hope to see you in the next video.